Okay, good afternoon. Ngasi ako'y BPSC 132 course Indian Government and Politics ki block 2 the Indian Constitution ki Unit 4 Basic Features Servicing ngasi ako'y nainazagani ko. Then Indian Constitution si ako'y na wahawdog ta ako'y na nainabaya si Indian Constitution si nainabaya Constitution ay si kayo no. Aduga Indian Constitution si kamay na horaki ay sarap pa. Wari mati ema koi na yingsi constitution si smaina thame constitution is the collective will of the country or collective will of the people. It says the broad functional parameters of governance. Asai constitution sing asai ki set of rules side rules principles madung asai kai waina guidelines waina seasonal kanda leba ama ngakpogi leba tuki hai political territory magi manungda laiba ko miyam si masi kamaina lengai kami mekoi yai fanaba kai thosel kamaina yat kani shen kani ai bagi kai nodi sorak pa broad ba ko gi noidare momato waidare adugi potune ba na constitution ai ba set of rules and principles either and masina tai ji laiba to the laiba miyam jina karama makhangi lenga karama makhangi punsi madu shingbagi kari vision laibagi havena singbagi magi aning ba dare aning ba pamba dogi collective will su madu su mafita aduna Indian Constitution si akoigi yamna sana ko lengthy deliberations tawra matung the Constituent Assembly the December 6 1946 tagina 26 January 1950 had the Indian Constitution si enforced over India Republic where si namesi pawi marakta yamna kuina from Kama Putua Constituent Assemblies, they the Canara Matunda, as I give where a Kiwaka Nomana. The Masigi Constitution Sigi Mawan and Leramba, Magi, precursor to the Indian Constitution, higher the egg of Government of India in 1935. I name Masin Britiski, colonial rule, Makala Laineda. Same give a room by egg in 1935. And Masigi Sour Mamma Indian Constitution. Tai having and Makata for the government of India in 1935 see when Kamakai Kamai Mina when the Yambia we have done the Masina Saiki report of a joint select committee that was discussed in the British Parliament before finally receiving the assent of the Queen on 2nd August 1935. Joint select committee report either Madu the Yupam were run by Government of India in 1935 said some of the features of the act with modification through were later incorporated in the Constitution of India. I say Government of India in 1935 or Act of 1935 and Kangariba Egasigi Manung the Yawa Magi Momato Magi features ke ama Karsendo Simpson Toroganda Kogi Ningtamaba Varki by the Constitution of India Sida by Hapsan either. It included federal structure in the form of a union and the state governments, division of powers, union list, state list, and concurrent list, bicameral legislature, either the lower and upper house at the union level, and state legislative assembly and state legislative council at the state level, federal court, which is known as the Supreme Court. And I government of India in 1935, so the Constitution did the Maruena, where incorporate Magi, so on circumstances, either Lengar Pagi, Lengar Patavi, Maruena Karika, no Hivakana, India's Union of States, or the Union government or central government, Duga state government side, and Nagoya the minor, my federating units, and minor Kaidoga labor, Union and state side, another my labor. Again, powers say union government, state government, since you power sharing mechanism. However, power sharing you can see union listener, union list the Yauriba power listener, union government katana exercise of the mana season of the wider. The state list the Yauriba powers in state government katana, the union of cuttings in Bayada. A concurrent list, concurrent list the as I give union government asu state government asu high the labor power see as I season of Adubu kayani animaki taso tasin gi kaino masulai sometimes union government na koi gi ngamlap ko adamaina ayamba chatli haib tare concurrentness ki wafam ji ko adugi mathakta ngasai gi bicameral legislature aidna ngasai gi union level da na koina parliament da lower and upper house aidna maroina lok sabha rajya sabha aidna khaidwe ko aduga state ki legislative assembly da su sai gi loina mak tadi na tabada indian state khara da ngasai gi legislative council haibama ko legislative assembly haibama adamaina ani thona thambas yawi aduga koi gi highest court of appeal si ngasai gi union ki level da koi gi supreme court aduga state ki level da na koi high court kaina smile ko sigi maroi ba structure haib tare keno myam sigi horo panjing sai government of India in 1935 sidagi haib usi constituent assembly is karigidamagta mathau ta gi manu magi asoba contribution je kaino an hairaga di the constitution had to live up to the aspirations of the people who had been exposed to several centuries of injustice, social exploitation and discrimination, as well as 2 centuries of colonial dominance. And the British government, British Empire ki makhada sai chani magi sam ko aduga topa koi small pockets kara da koi topa France kumba Portuguese kumba gi keno su yaure colonial rules yaure ado sai gi haiba sanga ba sahi chani gi colonial rule gi makhada leirakpa adugi tonga ba experience exploitation adugi masakta ngasai gi niam jigi ning nauna ning tamaba yagi niam jigi magi ngasai ka yaini ko aspirations aning ba pam magi no myam siko ana sahi sa kaya bagi injustice adi thong manada ba ko kan mana son ba bunam hatpa du bagi masak kuina chatharaga lakpa dagi social exploitation ngasai ka system ni karigi ko bagi kan ba son ba laira ina ko masim yam jigi dagi nupising ko dagi religious minorities linguistic minorities mayam ji ko gi niwan minai to ba du gi asamina nai ba ko exploitation and discrimination mayam sisu saigi madu punna nai na da yadam ni na constituent assembly sida hai ba no si wafam kya je ko gi tara tare to na ko gi nai na ra kan da constitution ni kan no si ko gi magi sakam je sengwa ki bani ai tare. It was to be applicable and acceptable to diverse religious, political, and regional sections, and it had to embody their interests. The high level constitutions that how could provisions in see India the labor lining Tonga Masat Kangup Singh and the Gimagi Tonga political ideologies, the regional interests, regional sections either lam masi gather away South India, North East Kisaru, Aduna Singbang Sagi, my Magi, Tonga interest Mamsi, Madu Yaholaga, the Yanaba Magi Mahada framework, even the Punna, Pusalapaya, Navapa, acceptable by applicable by Duma, Kanoma, Sagala, Constituent Assembly, Song, we told them together. The motto of the constitution making exercise was undertaken based on consensus rather than the majority principle. The constitution making is the tamizi what if singsi consensus da saigi mayapuna yanawa aduda koigi lepki rather than the majority principle saigi masing yamba kambuna yare habadu aduda sanabe mota puna minority majority khaida bida punna wagi ware mina baidare ko yana ba mu poraga adu mo the constitution making is athaki ba my motto se it had 381 members representing various political parties, provinces, and princely states. I constituent assemblies the 381 members wagi through ya my debates and deliberations me anjuda aduga high members in seat one political parties pa matam da leramba Nuga, Zulaiba, Krayana, Tonga political parties, Kayama, Mihusing, Tonga provinces, Indian states, Cyber Mansi, Tonga states, Mansi, Siguna, Matanga White province, China, Colombia, and Haiba province, in Sitagi, Wagi representative, Aduga, princely states, Idana, Wagin Tobanba, provinces, which is in the Arizona, princely states, Mansi, using the Yakan, Wagipuna, Constant SMBC, minor. ꯁꯦꯝꯒꯠꯈꯤꯕꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯅꯤꯡꯁꯤꯡꯕ ꯌꯥꯕꯁꯤ ꯖꯦꯁ ꯒꯣꯋꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯄꯨꯔꯥꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯑꯣꯏ ꯑꯃꯅ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯤꯟꯁꯂꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯠ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔ ꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯩ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯄꯨꯔꯥ ꯈꯥꯁꯤ ꯖꯦꯟꯇꯤꯌꯥꯅꯆꯤꯡꯕ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯠꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯀꯣꯟꯁꯇꯤꯇ꯭ꯌꯨꯌꯦꯟꯠ ꯑꯦꯁꯦꯝꯕ꯭ꯂꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯍꯨꯠ ꯁꯤꯟꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯔꯤꯄ꯭ꯔꯖꯦꯟꯇꯦꯇꯤꯚ ꯑꯣꯏꯅꯀꯣ ꯑꯗ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯋꯥꯐꯝꯁꯤ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯅꯤꯡꯁꯤꯡꯃꯤꯟꯅꯕ ꯀꯥꯟꯅꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ. The provisions of Constitution were extensively debated upon in the several committees that were formed for the purpose before being presented to the Assembly for its consideration. Adana Constituent Assembly jina masagi ayaba pirak nanaba madugi mangoi na Constitution jida yawdaba provisions mayamsi masagi yamna kayani person na koi khana nei na ba dare committee kya ama semi committee jindugi marakta masagi religious की वजह है linguistic की वजह है तो आतो हम बाकी कहीं में आंसी प्रिंसिपल स्टेज की वजह है शायद में आंसी की वफम क्या आम से मोइन नहीं ना रहा मतुंगा constituent assembly ना साइकी final के नौसे पीर ने province का ना minus अठाकी. On the basis of the deliberations, the drafting committee was constituted on 29 August 1947, prepared the draft text of the constitution. Smai tawduna haiba deliberations sari khana nainaba myam si chathara matunda 29 August 1947 da semkiba constitution drafting committee dana masai constitution gi draft text the minor koi semgat khiba bajai maruina koina nainagadiba essential features aina koi constitution da yawriba koi gi lengai pathap ki yamna maruiba kaino sing haidare magi momato sing haiba dum yang features ko adu ngasai gi koi khara naina baduni ana ahamba da koina sovereign democratic republic haiba koi gi masigi ahunsi koi masi khamina bam sangi essential features si marta. The preamble of the constitution declares that the people of the country are the sovereigns. Adana Indian constitution gi preambles da masai gi India as the labor miyam sina Lebasiki Asengba Mapuni, the Asengba sovereign power say lies in the hands of the people. I will do on the minor Tammy. Sovereignty rests in the people and is exercised through the institutions that have been created for that purpose. Adana sovereignty is Niam Zingi Kutta Labanina, Makoina Sagi Semiba, governance ki semiba constitution ki framework ki makhada provisions me ani makhada semiba institutions me anduna sai kari aini sovereignty je salai by the sai institutions me anduna ko anduna sai ki sovereignty to the people the lay do people na directly to be adamina by different institutions me ama ko union level the state level the grassroots level the sembala kanda powers exercised or sovereign powers. There cannot be turned into a colony or a dependency of another country. Aduga masida simas wiring as I sovereignty can also the handing is the India se atopa deba amagi wilam wena colony wena on top of the yade aduga atopa leba amada koigi dependent weba and the atopa leba ta koigi kayani mamonda koigi magi tengbang makada haidare magi minusing mikha polaganda dependent wera laiga du leba ma koiba suya li haibasini sida thamnisiko. India shall be a republic and shall adhere to a democratic form of government. Aduna India is a republic amani na haira pasing asai ki miyam na lengak sabudani aduna republic ama haira di magi monarchy keri koi kano se yadre masida miyam na miyam idama semjaba lengak to na lengak sagadawni aduna democratic form of government amada established story constitution zigi can also democratic way has no scope for a monarch to reign over the people, but the people themselves rule the country through their elected representatives. Adana masagi mikhal tawraga khangiba mihu singsi masijina moida sovereign power se sinarakanda miyam singi mohutta moina aiba institutions miyam asi sizinaraganda sovereign power si exercise tawi. Adana haiba Republic of India sida masagi ningthogi lenga haiba ma adugi mafamdadi pidre miyamna miyamida lenga sabani haiba zi koina essential feature amada amu koina Union of States. As I constitution India is a current Baleba Aman Wine Masakta Puran, Yamun Hamamatauda is Article 1. The constitution has constituted India as a Union of States. ID one ba federating units when a states I can states Myamse, Manipur, Nagaland, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Rajasthan, and like states Myamse Apunba Union Unab. So I give Magi same Masaksiko, when a Union of States. There is also scope in the constitution to create new states as well as to admit new ones. I think Atopa constitution Ziki Amna Hanava Masagamana Kaino Aganda Constitution Zida in the idea of the Constitution Zida, particularly about states in Sinatava, and over states in Siamba Yavagi, Mapams Lay Idareko. Adu Kamana Siamba, Adu Mai Ganoka Parliament, Karina Ganotoroga, Dumongsagi, an over state assembly, Aduga Luina, India Manunda, Labor states in Nataba, Atopa, Anova state, Amito Viavi, scopes is constitution the period. In 1956, bifurcation of the then existing states on a linguistic basis took place. State reorganization, Kimakada, either Sumaina Han number also states Miamazi, linguistic basis, the loan manavagi, the Yupam Warakanda, Kaido was same divided Gujarat, Maharashtra, Nagi, Andhra Pradesh kind of Sumaina, Tuandongamba, Tamil Nadu, and my language, majority Miam language to be and do the Yupam Warakanda by same with the Adugamu, another state assembly Wafamzi, when a Pudamoini and Kanda 2000 Dangasaki, Uttarakhand, Satisgar, and Zarkhan Island, an overstate, whom same. Seeing Matunga so an overstate, same way, and Domasaki example in Aquana, the only is a constitution Manunda, constitution provision, Namazagi, India, Uzilaba states, by Union of States, I will states an overstate assembly I have. And they get Topa, an overstate, Amito way I have, examples in a Sagi. Sikkim was admitted into the Indian Union as a new state in 1975. Till then, it was a protectorate. 1975 ta Sikkim manangasi akoina mayamna khangnaiba Sikkim hariba state se hana koi India gi state amoina leramde asi 1975 ta India gi anoba state amoina koi pusalakibane haidare adugi mamangda Sikkim jing asai India gi miyeng makhada koi Yana Selaga Tamba, Yaga Yamna, Wozwina, Baibadumba, Lamamu in a letter, and there is a king, then state Amanatava, do Adu as I can protectorate eyes. On August 5th, 2019, the state of Jammu and Kashmir was bifurcated into two union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Adegi Atopa Yamna, interesting way Bamana, constitution provision, the Makada, Particularly states in the Tugai Bears, an overstate assembly, another union territory assembly, August Tamara 2019, the Jammu and Kashmir, Aina, in the northernmost states, Sagi Tugai Raganda, union territories, Ani Otoki, and Namasi, Shizuoki constitution, interesting way, like Fisher Mani. But next, the Yamaru essential Fisher Maga, the fundamental rights. These are enshrined in Part 3 of the Constitution, and their implementation is guaranteed by the Supreme Court. And the fundamental rights in the Constitution Part 3, the Yawi, the Masi, Kogi, Sanagadavani, Masida, I think by the PBRD, we can was in the Supreme Court and the highest court of appeals. Except during an emergency, these rights cannot be suspended. However, even during an emergency, Article 20 and Article 21 cannot be withheld. And then Constitution the people fundamental rights see emergency imposed upon matam khakta suspend away I atay matam they must suspend to swear they will government adubu emergency gi manung the power article 20 and 21 I article anijati say withheld over swear they either city magi yam number fundamental rights ni I don't know. The fundamental rights include right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to religion, cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies. I have fundamental rights. The right to property was made a legal right through the 44th Amendment and is hence not a fundamental right now. The right to property is a fundamental right when Leramani to Huzikti 44th Amendment, Makadama's legal right on for her. The Huzik say right to equality, the Lakanda Article 14, the right to equality before the law and the right to equal protection of the laws. Article 14 in the PI. Constitution na India le citizen kudimba ko mioy kudimba ngasai ki chamana oi habaji sai constitution na pi ba adugumba ko pagi ngalo mani habzar. Article 15 dana protection from discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth and provides for equal access to and does the right against discrimination. Article 15 dana discrimination misang khai na ya da India citizens say racial, religious, caste, place of birth, either Punsalaga same Madi, Christian, Madi, Islam, Muslim, Madi, Mongoloid, Tibeto Burman, Kambuni, Noreski, Madi, Brahmini, Shudrani, Madi Nupini, Nupani, Natragana Mana, South India, the Popani, Mana, North India, have a Kena Rogano. Amata misam kai na yadi haiba constitution article 15 na pirigo article 16 amukai hari right to equality of opportunity in employment thaba ma sang bakanda sagi India gi citizen amatabu sagi magi kari hani haiba kenaba lining kari ko race ki religion caste ki sun bang yang leja koi athing ba yat ba ko misam kai na amata ade chamana ba opportunity je we could mata Article 17 abolition of untouchability equality of all can see concretpo in a see Nasai Sona Samavia the one Bazani in the Haidana Naiva untouchable since Masi system of untouchability in Motakadabuni Haidana Kanatan. Article 18 the na more abolition of title sidana missing says some manana legally some manava equality of all before the law still like Sai titles kumba Madi Maharaja ni Rajkumar ni dunia dan happiness in bagi sukum koi tuan tuan titles kya aje pagi mutat pai dare masigi kenosis ananda right to freedom the na article 19 lagi 22 for ki kenosis the labor right to freedom the na koi freedom of speech and expression ko maru in article 19 masi amaru hai da democratic society ma da adagi article 20 da maru in protection in respect of conviction for offenses for me ama maral la yadana kogi pharo tamsida magi kayani me dugi asomarani wayel ama phangna ba haidare kogi maram sadana yamna kayani power pairiba state ki institution machinery singsina kogi citizen amagi right ko men being amagi right se ta violate to ya dana ba haidare ko and protection piri Article 21 the protection of life and personal liberty ko amaru ba right to life ki can also Article 21 you can also PDC Article 22 the protection against arrest and detention ex post facto law double jeopardy prohibition against self incrimination Article 22 is amaru ai anaguma mi ma pharaga pullaga ma je thamma police na wbi paramedic force na wbi adugumba thibam amasi laiba kanda Sai Haiba, Article 22 na my Nalo Yampiri, Hambada, ex post facto law, I was sick in Hakanda, Masaki, Kanagumba, Miyama, Pavamatamda, Mana, Parivamatam, the Sanarival law, Duki, Matung in a my punishment of Hangadovan, Ivaniko. Adimadi Matunda, known as Semapalu, Amamagi, and was among the applicable Wadi. The double jeopardy, I was in Angasai, Kanaguma, Miyamana. Around Mamatoya than a Mabu Sarah Piva can't stay there. Some man about Maggie Manatori, Maran, Vidamata, Mabu, Anira Kanda, Sarah Piva, Kenosi Yadi, double zero party, highest level. Prohibition against self incrimination, high Nakanamu, Paraga, Marale, and a Paraga, Ma Masada, Kian Kangalaga, Mabu, Namdana, Masana, Lanzari, high weekend over the minor by High Laganda, and Otobusi, Masivan Weekenosi. Article 22 again adagi fundamental rights ki mathang da koi yamna marui ba constitution ki sarup ama haira the directive principles of state policy I was nipa directive principles of state policy is Irish constitution ko Ireland gi Ireland haiba Europe ki leba ki the moi constitution gi khoi gi puraga option gi bani aidare broad guidelines which have to be borne in mind while enacting laws and implementing them. Ado directive principles of state policy habisi karino ay kan nga sai gi magi maming jina haiba gum na pagi direction pi by the my directive principles side na laiba ama lengak pagi pagi ko kanglon lonu semba kan jida karam ba ko mo matau da pagi semba karam lo semba ya di hamna simba gi maduri yani pagi lamjing ama tak pai da directive principles state policies na ba. They have a welfare connotation and not justiciable under the fundamental rights. The high bar directive principle of state policies ngasai gi yai fa tharangi ba wakhalon dana ma thamaganda koi gi piba koi gi kaino sing yai da koi gi lamjing kayani koi gi lamjing maira hai gadra koi gi adugumba principles sing yai da ko koi gi kangon sing na aduga ngasai gi ai basana kangon sing sing ngasai gi koi gi fundamental rights kumna ngasai gi masi kayani violatory masi directive principle state policies is maina government na sumaina sida ayat pa kai ba pili hai dana koina high court supreme court no tawduna wakat pa kai no duti adugi space di pi de phang de ai dare koi madu fundamental rights di phangi aduga directive principle state policy di madu di phang de their enforcement cannot be questioned in a court of law ki haijagi ba maina court salaga masigi se enforce them ni hai dana koina demand to we can do late there. Together with fundamental rights, the directive principles of state policy form the core of the constitution, the true conscience. And then constitution gi magi true conscience kari na punsal laganda same magi ha kanda fundamental rights aduga directive principles of state policy. Ani zina constitution gi ko gi magi core oi ba dare ko magi marui ba masa ga dare adu waya ba masina sai gi Laiba sida laiba miyam si karama makangi punsi mare karama makangi muaiba karama makangi ko chokhat pa bagi adugumba lenga patha ma bagi miyam sida thajaba piri ha bagi keno si haiba directive principles of state policy ga fundamental rights ani siga gi akoina masi namunna naina ba kana koi khangma ngam ni ha tare. And the directive principle of state policy prescribes that the state shall ensure. Adana state na any law semupa kana kai da ko when the same law sina masi directive principles ki karam principles sing se masi da akai ba thon gani hamna sing mai kai no si state sing na asai state ki legislature sing na ko same law je same kana law enactment to kana masi moi mind ba tham ga do na. Next the koina fundamental duties na fundamental rights haiba adugumna saigi yamna maroiba thodang sing ha chare koi thodang sing si yaudra di rights katang khangbudana koi citizen amagi magi matik sawa kaino do oi dia dare ko intended to obligate all the citizens to strive for the common benefit of all na ona maki fanana wa hona bagi thodang ama koi citizen khori makta respecting the constitution, national flag, and the anthem. The key fundamental duties in the constitution we kai kumnaba national flag and the national anthem. Fundamental duties ki manung sali. Citizens are called upon to strive for upholding the unity and integrity of the country and working for a harmonious society, setting aside all divisive tendencies. Na khena ba kya nairaga su koi citizens pura maksida asagi laiba asigi apun ba ko set ba mari ji kaihandana koi thamna bu gidama koi citizens singina masigi thogang su logodabuni haidana maina piri ko. Also duty to protect its natural and material resources and work towards higher levels of achievement. Adugi mathakta ngasagi laiba asida phangba magi natural material resources mayamsi masibu manghan tahandana azuna seasonaraga koi chakapa nungaiba koi laiba mo hoina ba hona bagi keno sida su citizens singigi koi fundamental duties haidana masi su maina yauri. Union executive legislature and judiciary haidana saigi saigi constitution gi kenosda magi framework sida koi lengak pagi governance ki kenosda koi smaina ahum si yawi hairi pa ya maru ba koi yumbi ahum maidare executive legislature and judiciary na koi union gi level adanga saigi ngasigi class da hariba sarusi am fazana koina naina be yaroi mai pak so na duna koi mathangi class da hariba sigi executive legislature and judiciary post koina sugaina maji ma koi proper class amada nainarasi asigi oina koina India has a parliamentary form of government with the president as the head of the state, while real executive power is exercised by the head of government, the prime minister, in association with his council of ministers. And India, the government is democratic government, democratic government is parliamentary, presidential, but India is the parliamentary form of government. Masida head of the state say presidency in a way, tabu asemba executive power city nebanga pagi magi chapchaba magi asengba power city kanana sizina gi haba kanda head of the government na sizina head of the government si kanana kanda prime minister ni mana maga loinana laiba magi council of ministers siga pulla kana pagi leba sigi executive power si same executive power si sizina haba tara the parliament is the supreme law making body of the country and the parliament si pagi leba sigi pagi lenga kangon si law ba masi sembagi paidagi chawba paidai mathak thongba pagi body ni aida Indian parliament is bicameral sai mamang so hai ga parliament se pagi lok sabha rai sabha ko lower house upper house aina maina ni three judiciary da pagi highest court of appeal si supreme court ni aduga supreme court ayasi constitution ki provision da state na magi executive powers is bakanda citizens singsi magi fundamental rights ta karida pagi akaiba ayetpa ko madu thole habagi chingna base lai bakanda pagi supreme court na appeal to bai masigi wales da supreme court na masagi constitution ki provision singa na celebra satabra habagi kenosi madu supreme court na pi magi waretuna madu sumsum da lepnai habdare emergency provisions ta paina khangadawsi emergency provisions Indian constitution ki part 18 part 18 sida yawi articles 352 dagina 360 power gi marakta constitution ki emergency provisions si pi haida aduga maruiba constitution ki provisions yawi emergency ki makal je ahumni emergency makal ahamadana national emergency haidana amalare next na akoina yam toina su panaba president's rule adana akogi ya thambai wasi malare aduga konbadana akogi financial emergency haidana ko article 360 khada ahum sini akogi laiba types of emergencies external aggression or armed rebellion article 352 di manung sana external aggression ay ato palibag tagi India dan landara pa na tragana India manung da sauba kulai pai bagi amna akan batam chiba ihoma tholo padagi saigi ahan bagi national emergency je kogi auto pai ai hatare ko ado masigi kudam mabu kogi 1962 da India ga China ga sona gi ba lan jigi ko wahu dagi national emergency je maina lautoki adagi atopa Sak manaba makagi sigi national emergency si 1971 da kogi India ga Pakistan ga lan songna bada amu lautoki mathang da 1975 tasu emergency ama lautoki ko masina hai ba 1975 ki emergency di sagi yam sawa India pumbagi ko kogi watho goi ba emergency ama ni masi matam nugi prime minister wa Mrs Indira Gandhi na ko mana impose to bani ano hai ba emergency da Saigi mayam na hai bazi taseng na Mrs Indira Gandhi na magi power zi ko consolidate tawna ba mangonda political opponents sina threat pirak tana bagi mana yani emergency je khulai wena sizina bani hai ke no am sawa wa tho ma maina we lai yam da 1975 emergency ke no sila ba Haiba 1975 ki emergency ki period si darkest period for Indian democracy haidan hai kaigino haikanda there were arbitrary detentions and accusations of widespread infringement of fundamental rights. Haiba emergency ki manung sidaida Indira Gandhi na sai mi je ko political opponents me alsi the dissenters me alsi ko ki pha bai da government gi against ngang ma support to me alsi party mathak tang sai constitution na pi ba fundamental rights me alsi ko ki Kongoi na bai da ko masida ayarapan yama thon na citizens in Chipugi peacefully democratic rising exercise to the hingman ngaman gi da bai da mani saw wa thon wa ki article 356 ta yawi ba ngasai gi emergency provisions na ngasai gi president's rule lai ba ni ko ana masika matam da sana bagi masika matam da imposed to bagi ha pa constitutional machinery has been broken or the administration of the state can no longer be carried out in accordance with the provisions laid down in the constitution. Haibagi singna bazi azana laire hadan established toroba kansta haiba president's rules ko declare to hadare ko saigi constitutional machinery at the state amada magi leba nga pagi kaino sida constitutional provisions ki makha da sathaba leba nga pagi thabak thoma myapsi ko masi ngamdre masi fail oire habagi kaino si Song and Tazaba Mother Minor later Bukansta. President of India in a high state Magi administration, the passion by the president may do so even if he is otherwise satisfied of a constitutional breakdown in a state. The president high Roganose, Sagi state mother constitutional breakdown said to a Havaki Monda Kayani, a penba Monda convinced all by the Adu Itara Manadam, President rules comes and be a Adana higher provisions in a Kaidoba, it allows dismissing the state government and bringing it under president's rule. Adana higher provisions in Makada, presidents na the ASCD states the constitutional machineries in breakdown tore, Levanga Pazim, Namdre Havagi, and Osiki Kudong Zavaloga, at the Thompson BI powers it centered by the Under this, the governor assumes all functions and carries out the administration in the state on behalf of the president. Minor president run Tamzilava state amada state sigi governors ina sagi leva nga pagi ko thabak thoram yam si mana loi paisal ya da president sigi mohsil da ko the governors ina state ki level da central government gi magi kaino ne da pagi representative way ha da ko na governor na power se loina season na gani ha da president gi mohsil da Last financial emergency haibasina article 360 genos data leba magi kayani sentungi pibam je pagi taptai na pagi social labai da magi financial stability credit ki karegi apam myas de pagi sen ya putha da na pagi atopa financial institution international financial institutions in the puba khotpa top leba de puba senung je singkat ngam da na pagi ko da magi Aduki mati pibam so by the semelon ye penos. Masi mata is the financial emergencies As for the 44th Amendment of 1978, says the proclamation needs to be approved by the both houses of the Parliament within 2 months from the date of this proclamation, or if the Lok Sabha is at that time dissolved, within 30 days from the date the new house is reconstituted. And Masigi kenosina financial emergencies Masigi Laptop Maram Zaisa, the Avagi, Wafanga Marilena, either Masigi approval si Zai Parliamengi, Lawan, Upper House, Animaxina, Tani Manunda, approval pig the Zagi proclamation of financial emergency. Natragana high level Lautriva Matan Sida Lok Savase Magi, sessions late the Matam wearable. Session Panto the Matam, Osavasi, and the Matam, Zopto Matam Siwelati, Zagi, Anoba. Losavagi house no namu reconstitute to matung 30 days manunda sai can also approval se big down. Next the koina Indian constitution gi manung sida federalism haiwa wafam se koina masim su khangda ba da ba am basic my essential ba feature mo hai federalism da high is na kaino ha kan da a strong union government within a federal framework India gi lenga pathap ki magi loan sikai noya kanda ko union government yam strong way by that aduga power the state governments in the share the federal framework of the labor and higher frameworks that union governments are strong by that. Aduna state center relations, I said them totally centers in the union governments in the center state relations are enumerated in part 11 of the Constitution. Constitution part 11 the center state relations you cannot see our. It has both centralizing and decentralizing features. Centralizing whereby the powers is the passion bagisu and the state governments in the yentoga concurrent list, state list, union list labor the minor aside centralizing to was na union list ka concurrent list ka the union government the kamina powers passion you have to be certain dunia do decentralizing the namu aside state list ka concurrent list ka the kamina union government ka state government ka powers is shared on the issue on the decentralizing feature to almost no problem existed between the center and the states for more than a decade and a half. Yaning tamo matung sahi tara mga hen ba. So I matam sida ding sa center state relations is the problem nta. Masak thopa problem the talk there. The balance in relations tilted more in favor of the center when Indira Gandhi was the prime minister of the country. Otherwise, Mrs. Indira Gandhi na prime minister pa matam sida gidi. My center state relations the power si centers na hen a pashala pagi pora ma no maina pagi thoki aidar was due not only to the emergency that was imposed in 1975 but also because of weak leaders at the state level whose survival in political power was dependent on the cloud that they could wield at the central level. Masid hiding is a kind of the kaida center na hen a power si Pagi centralizing to Pagi Mamitari, no higher than my emergency 1975 key emergency to you of Hamna Kata Ohen Manatawa. State sing the state key leaders in either state labor political leaders in Simoy weak way by the sworn by that. Aluga Moina state key level the political powers a Pyraga Laywagi can was it. Sagi center the center ga ngasagi moy ga lainari ba kogi mari ai da center na kaya yamna sanbi kaya yamna sibi ha gi makha pol ko gi phibam ma thola pa da ma lagi center state relation da yamna sawa imbalance ma in favor of the union government on maina ko la pa ho ya da Mrs. Indira Gandhi matam by the 1990s a few of the states exercised greater leverage vis-a-vis the center pa awda gi 1990s gi matam da gi state kharadi sagi center ga ko gi center state relations the power si yenaba gi mathak tang sai maroina concurrent list ki kari wafam da ko gi power se mungna rak pa da center da gi center na hena power se passion ba gi kai no da ko gi mungna ronga ma gi do gi phibam da yang khala pa da a central government that lacked an absolute majority in parliament had to depend on the support of its regional allies and that central government say ram khang central government which lacked an absolute majority in parliament. Parliament the absolute majority from the central government see without a moising as regional allies in the support in Matota, Moy Matings in Matota, Menakadora, Sagi regional parties in Marina, Drabida Munetrakazagam, and DMK, the DMK, Moise Taminadu, the Labour Yamaru, regional parties in the National Conference in Jammu and Kashmir. It was Jammu and Kashmir, the Yamaru Bar, his name party, Moon Lemi, Assam Gun Parishad, AZP, and the Gatopa, Randa party is Pinterest Mansi. Moisi am a powerful winner, states Mayama, the Moise power pile by the other central government, is absolute majority from the Wakanda, Moigi, Mating Sea, Yamatota, the state power sea, and Kankalapagi Matamas in 1990s, the Wu Funky. Problems in center-state relations came to the fore after non-Congress government came to power in Orissa, West Bengal, Kerala, Punjab, UP, and Bihar in the late 1960s. Adagi matakta ngasagi center na Congress pairaga kogi haiba Orissa ko West Bengal, Kerala, Punjab, UP, Bihar jadana kogi 1960s gi loishilapa size data power si non-Congress party na government sem baida center na Congress na power paiba aduga haiba states ngi da in the 1960s, the non-Congress power power so over problem. Financial relations Central state ki relations they maru ma financial relations is power sharing. Sharing of financial resources and allocation of central grants to various states was a contentious issue. Financial resource center center na revenue state grants allocation governor's rule, imposition of governor's rule on a state and his her role while in office, besides that of his her abrupt removal. Governor ki rule ki wafam bitu central state ka muna bagi wafam wai kiramoina governor ki rule state se la pa president rule makada natragana mana office ta laringai da kamaina mathau tawba natragana maje office ta gi magi tam loidingai da koi phanna la thokre ba sugum bagi wahauda state ki administration da kaida central state ki relation da koi problems adum thopa lai hada. Governors are generally appointed with the concurrence of the CM of the concerned state and the Sarkaria Commission to in 1988 recommended itself. Governors is state amagi intraga state ani gi ahum gi punjalaga su numaina oina basi yawi. Governor si appoint obukan that minister state ki minister gi magi kayani yaningba adumba kharasu yawa kanda dumaina appointment se tawe haidare haiba makangi kaino maksi recommendations is Sarkaria Commission ko 1988 su pi haidare adubu masi matang punamakta governor je khanba kanda state ki CM gi magi puningi kayani yaningba adugumba phawraga gano tawra haigadi madu tawdaba yam yawa haidare aduna su central state relation da so problem kya ma tholi the constitution is relative flexibility. Constitution is lenga pathapsi yamna yani hongdongin yadaba yam rigid way by haba leko and the yamna flexible way by line a simple semjin yabasiko. And now Hoziki Laiba Constitution of India si kayam yamna the minor rigid my rigidity go donjin yadaba yamna line hongdongin semjin to yaba haba matang. A constitution is a living document and hence it has to reflect the changing times. Constitution haibasi lebak to gi kay hani lenga patha ko mari le na semba pagi ahingba pagi ko document ama haidare pagi documents ko londa chapchana hanbaje pagi yadre ba pagi ahingba pagi maloi ba sesang ma haibare ko pagi sesang am ainar mina ba ama oeba kai da ahingba haibano harkan magi keno si masam mato si magi provisions nyam si hongaiba matam jiga sunana akoina simbo semjin tawda yada aduna asiba dudi chaigi simbo semjin yamre rigid oeba keno sina ko aduga flexible oeba sina mo masi magi living document oeba gi character no the minor reflect of either. An amendment to the preamble made the principle of secularism an integral feature of the constitution. Then constitution ki preamble se da koi secularism ki principle se koi hapsan gi basi nasai amendment organ ko adagi article 368 together with other articles empowers parliament to make amendments to the constitutions adagi tati constitution da flexibility lainana ba constitutional amendments si kamaina karamba provisions ki makha da yahal ha kan article 368 loina atopa article sinsina unsala kan da parliament si adi union legislature is not a supreme body with the constitution amend the powers of parliament the amendment procedure laid down is both rigid and soft for different articles. And the constitution the articles magi kayani amendment procedures article 6 Karana Madu Semdo Gagadiam rigid with Kersiawi and the Karamana line of Semdo Piaiko, Madubuni rigid and soft for different articles. While some need only a simple majority, most need a majority of 2/3 present and voting in both the houses of parliament and the assent of the president. Simple majority na parliament na sagi amendment of article su Kerlade, and Karamana. Parliament both houses, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, Animata, 2/3 legislatures, 2/3 members present with the one. Aduga both the other Moigi yes board se koi two-thirds members of the both the houses of the parliament sing sai phanga matung sida president as SNP laga semdo ko yawa kambu habam si yawa moi jini mo kra hena rigid way haijana ba sai simple majority phanga ga semdo ga abuna koi so way ba article sing haida. The toughest amendment procedure requires also the consent of at least half the number of legislatures in states in the country. Aduga some provisions the amendment we haragadi yamna toughest over quite rigid we buy that equation to the waba provisions ki saruk in the constitution is union legislature with parliament board houses ki at least half the number of legislatures in states in the country. Countries states meamzigi my legislatures in the state government legislatures state assemblies meamita see yam state meamzigi pusalagan tankhai gambagi ayaba my consent lower simdokadoba provisions yawe the constitution or parliament and hozilai from the parliament's na constitution semdopa yawagi supreme body way high adubu parliament's na hena powerful brand natraga constitution hena saw habagi wayana mathuna rapakanda kari haina lepe haigadi parliament is rightfully authorized to amend the constitution but only so long as it did not amend the basic features of the constitution haina masida lemna rather adi parliament na constitution ki provisions si semdok sadopa tawagi power to the parliament the pile parliament is supreme body to the oil as far as constitutional amendment is concerned adubu parliament se all powerful way bragadi adumu yati mangonda limitation kar thamni mangonda biriba amendment ki power si krai power season abagi yagi ha kanda masai constitution ji ki magi basic features masi kahendri powder parliament na magi amendment to yabagi mangonda power si bai piba kayumba moina amendment to doiba local steps in the constitution ki founding fathers in the semamiba basic features of the constitution masi the salience tawraba kandadi sai kedoba parliament na madudi tawya de have kano semalay. The Supreme Court has the power to decide whether an amendment to constitution is against the basic principles of the constitution or not. Adana Supreme Court sina sai constitution ki amendment amaze sai ki same way amendment ama lokan na tawre ko amendment ji pass on ba samay ko gi push to matung sida sai kai gumba mioi kharana ko gi concerned citizens karana ko gi sai gi high bogen sina constitution ki basic features se ko gi sida threaten to ya ba gi singna ba minor leira kanda moina kai no Supreme Court sida Supreme Court na madugi kainoze what if low and header aduna slide cd sida lore adu ko na ngasai gi summarize to kanda ko na yengba yabsi ko maroina essential features data ko Indian constitution gi essential features data ko na maroina yawriba ngasai gi sovereign democratic republic ama Indian Republic of India habasi ngasai sovereign democratic republic ama oi habasi karigino sovereign oisina kamaina oibino sai mai sovereign power si people do not exercise to people ge kutalai habasi ma sima lere aduga haiba sovereign power si people do not directly exercise over hagadi madu sanade ko sai indirectly we rule tawani miyam sina ko adana ngasai representative form of government miyam na election tawga ko music khala kana moina miyam gi bahut silaga ko lenga pagi chana biduni haidare adana sovereign power si sai people do not exercise tawga people do the lega sumagi exercise with the representative through the tawba aduga stations me ama season adagi democratic oibagi post da dinga sai gi lewanga pagi keno sida haigre pagi thau pa mai keno do yade ko ji myam na pagi lenga 7 ko ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯈꯜ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯔꯤꯄꯕ꯭ꯂꯤꯛ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯤꯗꯁꯨ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥꯁꯦ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯁꯤꯇꯤꯖꯦꯟꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯁꯤꯇꯤꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯀꯂꯦꯛꯇꯤꯚ ꯋꯤꯜꯗꯨ ꯑꯦꯛꯁꯔꯁꯥꯏꯁ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯆꯠꯅ ꯀꯥꯡꯂꯣꯟ ꯈꯔꯒꯤ ꯃꯈꯥꯗ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯍꯨꯠ ꯈꯜꯂꯒ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯉꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯅꯤꯡꯊꯧꯅ ꯂꯩꯉꯥꯛꯄ ꯅꯠꯇꯦ ꯀꯨꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯉꯥꯛꯄ ꯅꯠꯇꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯁꯤꯒꯤ elected representative through the ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯉꯥꯛꯄꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯦ ꯁꯤꯁꯇꯦꯝꯁꯦ ꯃꯁꯤꯅ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥꯁꯦ ꯔꯤꯄꯕ꯭ꯂꯤꯛ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯍꯜꯂꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯅꯤꯡꯁꯤꯡꯕ ꯌꯥꯕꯗ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯏꯁꯦꯟꯁꯤꯌꯦꯜ ꯐꯤꯆꯔꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯌꯨꯅꯤꯌꯟ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯠꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥꯁꯤ ꯐꯦꯗꯔꯦꯜ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯀ꯭ꯋꯥꯁꯤ ꯐꯦꯗꯔꯦꯜꯂ ꯀꯔꯝꯕ ꯃꯈꯜꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯅꯣꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯀꯟꯐ꯭ꯌꯨꯖꯟ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯗꯤꯕꯦꯠ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯌꯥꯎꯋꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯅꯤꯡꯁꯤꯡꯒꯗꯕꯁꯦ ꯀꯣꯟꯁꯇꯤꯇ꯭ꯌꯨꯁꯟꯒꯤ ꯑꯥꯔꯇꯤꯀꯜ 1ꯁꯤꯅꯤ ꯃꯁꯤꯗ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ Constitution India's a union of states and a union of states I mean states in a pull same name. Union of states where Sagi states in Sigi Apunba Masakti Kahanbaya there and Oma constitutions either. Duga constitutions na mo ano states in Semba ano state and Mr. Sigi can was in the fundamental rights, according Yamaru feature more constitution give fundamental rights. Then a citizen a democratic form of government, Sida citizen Mana Kari Pondo Paning Bapamba Ama Payiko, Namasapaya, the Mamianos, fundamental rights, and Manos data limitations of Tami, my fundamental rights in Hectangani Mangamba de Kudamoina freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom to form associations have that Suma freedom exercise or propaganda. Hector Nimana Nanning and Mapanga was a yard. No Magi Marangai Wafanzina Lebatigi integrity, sovereignty. Kaya Bibra, Natragana social harmony, like diverse groups of communities gone. We have the religion, we can have the race, we can have a linguistic, we can have a hamlet in a much later, we can have a mayamsi, we puna, we harmonious way now, we in the Nabagi coexistence, and Omega is an apart of the constitution happening. Adugi can also Tugai by the mother the Akaya people, public morality and public order either. So, a kind of people was the freedom of expression, lady, and the Nambia dynamic. The Atasu Yam Lagre, the Masagi, high fundamental rising Jamna, to the briefly when a navani, Mazaka, Kupna Nainabasu, Totai, Sagi. Verb can only rice mamsi, man high zika, no Kamaito, see can only Hambaganda. They have a brief one at Hambas in Messina, Bunkada, Madams will be either. Then when I was protection of life and personal liberty, Matang Hagazu, Masida, Hoyam Parks on Magi, and was a Hangibe either, right to life. Is happy at the weekend or from my consistency. Madam Salana, happy at the whatever the protection people, not over than as I give my Shinzana livelihood kick or from the student protection people lay had Article 21. And as my directive principles of state policy, as I the high grade fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, and is my core by the constitution, my true conscience, either my single and was the constitution, my Magun Matic Maya is in the side, and was in a lake gather, uneasy, could be Amuna and Totai. And a duties to Samarana, fundamental rights, Manana duties is citizens in the Pantoka, Kayumba, citizens in the rights Katang. Pam rice cutting exercise to the duties obligation towards duties in Paton in the wider Maritari Madu society to the Sokapan Iva Tambu Tavasi or Yongamoy. ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯆꯥꯎꯅ ꯀꯣꯟꯁꯇꯤꯇ꯭ꯌꯨꯁꯟꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯕꯤꯖꯟꯗ ꯌꯥꯎꯏꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯃꯔꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯕꯤꯖꯟꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯈꯟꯕꯗ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯈꯔ ꯅꯩꯅꯔꯤꯕꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯌꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯏꯃꯔꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯕꯤꯖꯟꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯩꯒꯤ ꯈꯪꯕ ꯃꯊꯧ ꯇꯥꯏꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏ ꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯏꯃꯔꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯕꯤꯖꯟꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤ ꯐꯟꯗꯥꯃꯦꯟꯇꯦꯜ ꯔꯥꯏꯠꯁꯤ ꯃꯁꯤꯗ ꯔꯦꯁꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯛꯁꯟ ꯊꯝꯃꯛꯄ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯥꯔꯇꯤꯀꯜ 20, 21 ꯈꯛꯇ ꯅꯠꯇꯕ ꯑꯅꯤꯗꯨ ꯅꯠꯇꯕ ꯑꯇꯩ ꯐꯟꯗꯥꯃꯦꯟꯇꯦꯜ ꯔꯥꯏꯠꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯌꯦꯠꯄ ꯄꯤꯔꯛꯄ ꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯏꯃꯔꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗꯀꯣ ꯃꯗꯨꯗ ꯊꯣꯛꯂꯛꯄ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯁꯤꯇꯤꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯦ ꯈꯪꯕ ꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯏꯃꯔꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯕꯤꯖꯟꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯈꯪꯕ ꯃꯊꯧ ꯇꯥꯏ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯁꯤꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯕ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯐꯦꯗꯔꯦꯂꯤꯖꯝꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯔꯛꯆꯔꯁꯤꯗ ꯄꯥꯋꯔ ꯁꯤꯌꯔꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯃꯦꯀꯥꯅꯤꯖꯝꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯦꯟꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯜ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯠꯀꯤ ꯔꯤꯂꯦꯁꯟꯁꯤꯗꯁꯨ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯃꯔꯖꯦꯟꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯕꯤꯖꯟꯁ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯔꯦꯁꯤꯗꯦꯟꯁ ꯔꯨꯜ ꯁꯥꯏꯖ ꯃꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯑꯆꯧꯕ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯃ ꯀꯟꯇꯦꯟꯁꯤꯌꯁ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯌꯦꯠꯅꯕ ꯊꯣꯛꯍꯟꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯅꯩꯅꯔꯛꯄ ꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯐꯤꯆꯔꯁ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯄꯨꯟꯅ ꯈꯪꯂꯒꯗꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯆꯃꯝꯅꯕ ꯂꯩꯒꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯁꯤꯅꯤ ꯁꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯀ꯭ꯂꯥꯁꯁꯦ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯂꯦꯞꯄꯁꯤꯀꯣ